Okay, good morning, guys, and welcome to our channel. Today is 10th January 2021, Sunday, and we are continuing with our lesson. Yesterday, we have already seen that what the personal management administration is. Okay, in that, we have learnt about its definition, its meaning, its objectives. Today, we are continuing in the series, and if we will have a quick glimpse of what the personal administration is. So, it's mentioned over here, as you can see on the screen, that personal administration performs the various functions in order to fulfill organizational objectives. Okay, this is the important thing here. The successful functioning of an organization is depend on the effectiveness of its personal system. The functions like recruitment of personnel, upgradations, okay, like recruitment of personnel, upgradation of their skills, formulations of the sound promotions policies, maintenance of the discipline in the organization, and redressal means remedy of the personal grievances, okay, improvement of their working conditions, etc., okay, fall within the purview of personal administration. Okay, so these all things come under this topic, okay, that we have already discussed. Now today our main agenda or the main topic of discussion is about the functions of personal administration. Okay, so today what we are going to talk about is functions of personal administration. Now, guys, see in this here, okay, in this topic, this include the some of the important functions of the personal administration. What are the important functions? What this topic includes? It includes manpower planning. It includes recruitment, training, promotion, salary structure, and employees welfare. There are the total 6 points. So we may not be able to cover all the 6 points in the one video. Okay, so most probably I will do first 2 points, that is manpower planning and recruitment. Okay, and remaining I will do in the next videos. Okay, this we will go. Otherwise, the video will stretch more than 20 minutes or something like that. Okay, so that will be too much for you guys. Now, see here, these all points are important. I tell you, this is the part of your course. If you have seen your course properly, this recruitment, training, promotion, salary structuring. Okay, employees welfare is not given, but at least this first five one are very very important. Okay, so I have taken out these points for you. So we will discuss one by one on this topic. Okay, so first of all, we are going to start with our manpower planning. Okay, what the manpower planning is. Okay, so let's start with the manpower planning. It says before the formal process of selection of personnel begins, uh, an organization has to make an assessment of its requirement in terms of number of personnel needed for a job. Okay, so any organization, first of all, they need to set this criteria that how many employees are actually required, whether there is a vacancy of 5% or 10% or whatever. Okay, so they need to assess. They need to do the assessment of the requirements. Okay. Uh, a personnel needed for a job. A definition of a job, the skills and specialization it entails. It entails means it involves the duration for which the personnel are required, nature of work, etc. Okay, and what purpose the personnel are required and what is the nature of the work. Okay, definitely the company is going to hire. If the computer operators are required, so definitely they require computer operators. Okay, the teachers may not function over there, right? So manpower planning is engaged with these types of activities. Organization, okay, and what kind of activities it is engaged with? Organization with large or small, okay, whether it is a public or private, are in a constant need of manpower. They require the men and women for different level of positions for performing different kinds of jobs at different places and intervals. Okay. Further, it says the manpower planning predicts means tells about the future. The number of personnel and organizations will have to hire, train, or promote. Okay, so this also include the hiring, training, and promotion of the employees. Okay, in the given period. Okay, further it says manpower planning makes long range estimates of the general, okay, and specific manpower needs of the organization for different activities. Okay, by anticipating. Now, what is anticipating? Anticipating is expecting. By expecting, as I mentioned here, by expecting the need of for the various types of skill requirements and levels of personnel. Okay, well in advance, a manpower plan is able to give adequate. Adequate means sufficient lead time for recruitment, selection, and training of such personnel. It controls delays. Okay, delays means late. Okay, and it's a very effective service to develop the required resources. Okay, from which needed personnel can be available. Okay, so what it has been called? It has been called as a effective device to develop the required sources from which the needed personnel can be made available. Is it clear till here? Okay, guys, now here we have certain objectives. Okay, the objectives of the manpower planning. All right, guys. So let's see at these objectives of the manpower planning, that what are these. The first, number one, it says to ensure optimum use of human resources currently employed. Now, to ensure optimum is best. Okay, so this is the responsibility of it, to ensure the optimum use of human resources currently employed. Okay, and second point, to assess and forecast the future skills requirements if the organization's overall objectives are to be achieved. Okay, this is the second objective of manpower planning. Okay, the third point, it says to provide control measures to ensure that necessary resources are available to us, and when required, to determine recruitment level. Okay, so manpower planning also involve this part, that the resources required for any organization should be available whenever they are needed. Okay, the next point says to anticipate. To anticipate means to see the future. Okay, to see the future, the weaknesses of organizational procedure, and avoid the unnecessary dismissal. So this comes into the manpower planning also, that manpower planning should know that what is going to be the future of it. Okay, whether we are going to run out of the staff, or whether we are going to have excessive staff or what. So this all comes under the objectives of manpower planning. Okay, and it also to determine the training level. Okay, this is another objective of it. It says that to determine training levels, to provide a basis for management. Okay, it also provide a basis for management. And the last objective says to assess the future accumulation requirements. Okay, what is future accumulation requirement? That how many number of employees should be required in the organization. Like any organization, it grows with the time. Okay, like for example, if a school is there and the school is up to primary level, but maybe in the future it will become middle school, right? Kind of. So the number of staff is going to be increase over there. So they have to assess the future accumulation requirement also, that how many classrooms they required, how many staff rooms, and number of teachers, etc. That all comes under the part of manpower planning. Okay, guys. Now, after manpower planning, our second point of discussion is about recruitment. Okay, so what it says, let's see here. Okay, recruitment. Okay, once the determination of manpower needs has been made, the recruitment and selection process can begin. Recruitment. Now, what the recruitment is, you should know. Recruitment is the process of searching for prospective workers and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. It is a positive function which aims at increasing the selection ratio, that is, the number of applicants per job opening. In contrast, the selection process is a negative function. Okay, it has a negative function also. It is called, because it attempts to eliminate means to reduce, okay, applicants, leaving only the best to observed in the organization. Means what happened in the recruitment, now they have called it as a negative function also. Why it has been called as a negative function? Because supposingly in an organization there are five employees are required, so they cannot appoint all the five, and supposingly 20 came for the interview, so they cannot appoint all the 20. They need to filter that, right? So that is why it is can be called here as a negative function, because it attempts to eliminate the applicants, leaving only the best of the observed in the organization. So what the organization will do, out of the 20, they will pick the five best one. Okay, so this is what it means to say here. All right, guys. Now, recruitment determines the tone and caliber. Caliber means ability of the service, whether public or private. Okay, further it says a faulty recruitment. Okay, if a faulty means if anybody has done the wrong recruitment, a faulty recruitment policy inflicts a permanent weakness. What will happen if any wrong entry is there in the organization? Means it is a permanent weakness upon the administration. Not even an effective training policy can make the faultily recruited person bright and efficient. Okay. Okay, now further we are going to discuss the basic element of sound recruitment policies, what it includes. A sound means a healthy and a good policy, what it includes. So first point, a good recruitment policy, discover and cultivation of the employment market for the post in the organization. Okay, first to do the discovery as per the market. Second point, it says use of attractive recruitment literature and publicity. Okay, third, it says use of scientific test for determining the abilities of the candidates. Okay, some good organization, they conduct some scientific test also to know about the candidate's ability. Now, next point, fourth one, it says the tapping capable candidates from within the organization. Okay, tapping means to persuade, to convince. Okay, capable candidates from within the organization also. And next point, it says the placement program which assigns the right man to the right job. Okay, so this is what the sound recruitment policies they do. They do the placement programs at different locations or the part of the town or kind of city or whatever it is. Okay, why they do? To find the right man for the right job. Okay. Further, it says the recruitment policy implies matching the personal characteristics of potential employees with the job requirement. Okay, so what is the capability of a person? Okay, like supposing if somebody is coming from the computer background, so he or she must be good. That is the characteristic of the person, right? So whether there is an actual requirement of computer is there or not, that person can if they're simply sitting at the reception and doing some another office work, so that will be kind of misfit. Okay. Okay, guys, further we have the sources of recruitment. Okay, the sources of recruitment are further divided into the two kinds, that is the internal sources and external sources. Okay, first is internal and second is external sources that we are going to discuss one by one. So what is our internal source? Internal source refers to the present working force of an organization. Or employees or the workers, those who are already working in an organization, they are called internal source. In the event of a vacancy, because someone already on the payroll is promoted, okay, and if any vacancy get if any senior position comes, so someone who is already working on the payroll is promoted. Okay, somebody maybe from primary teachers that can be promoted to the secondary teacher. Okay, and transferred or sometimes demoted, they can be transferred also and demoted also. Demoted means to bring down the position. Okay, filling a vacancy from internal sources has the advantages of increasing the general level and morale of existing employees. And what is the advantage of this? That advantage of this is increasing the general level. It increases the general level and morale of the existing employee. The employee feel, yes, I'll see, I have been promoted from primary to secondary level now. Okay. The major weakness, now it has a weakness also of internal source, is that it may deprive the organization of fresh outlook, originality, and initiative. Okay, so what is the disadvantage of this of internal source? That organization may not get fresh outlook, the fresh candidate. Okay, those young blood is there. Okay, that won't get. Definitely the young people are going to work better instead of promoting those who is already select, kind of. So this is one of the disadvantage of it. Now next we look at the external sources of it. Now, what the external sources is? The external sources, okay, refers to the method adopted by the organization to attract the people from outside the organization through assessment of their qualification, skills, and potential. All right, and some of the methods of determining the qualifications are personal judgment of the appointing officer. Okay, certificates of their ability, character, and education record of the previous experience. Okay, and examination. So this is what happens at the time of when you go to give an interview of any job, right? So that is a kind of you are appointed as per the external source over there. Okay, so they check you on these parameters. Okay, now further it says an organization cannot fill its vacancies from one single source only. Okay, it must be carefully combine some of these services, weighing their cost and flexibility, the quality of personnel they supply, and their effect on the present workforce. A planned recruitment program provides the organization with the job applicants from whom and queried number of selections are made. Okay, there is no standard selection procedure for recruitment. Okay, usually the selection is made through a written test or an interview or both. All right. Okay, further it says the final step in the selection process is that of inducting the new employees into the new social settings, okay, of his or her work. Okay, this is done by familiarizing the employee with the new surroundings and the rules and regulation of the organization. Okay, so what is the final step of selection process is that inducting the new employee into the new social settings. Okay, a person is changing maybe changing one organization to another, so that settings work there. Okay, the way of working, the process of working, everything get changed there. Okay, so that has been described here as a new social setting for reserve work. Okay, this is done by familiarizing the employees with the new surroundings. Okay, and how they do it by familiarizing means to make somebody introduce with that. Okay, so they introduce the employee with the new surroundings, the new rules and regulation. Okay, so this is how your recruitment process work. All right, guys. So now today we have discussed about the functions of personal administration, in which we have discussed the 2 points. One is, I am quickly revising, that is, one is manpower planning and the another is recruitment. Okay, total there are six. If I call them, that is manpower planning, recruitment, training, promotion, salary structure and employee welfare. But we have done first two, that is manpower planning and recruitment. Okay, and next I may come up with the next points in the another video. All right, guys. So meanwhile, stay tuned and keep watching, keep preparing. Okay, and today is 10 date, and tomorrow don't forget to download your hall ticket for the IGNO assistant registrar. All right, best wishes ahead. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye and have a nice day.